There have been some great players to wear Heat jerseys, but there's always been a special player that just seems to stand out. Who are the biggest fan favorites in Miami Heat history? We'll give you our list on today's episode of Locked On Heat.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks so much for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg here with David Ramil. Both of us are credentialed Heat media members who cover this team every day. For daily content on the Heat, join more than 17,000 Heat fans and click that subscribe button on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins on FanDuel. David, we talked about our over-unders yesterday. The Heat, according to FanDuel, given a 38.5 win total. You and I are both slamming the over on that. You can do that over on FanDuel. Maybe even sprinkle a little bit on Eric Spoelstra's Coach of the Year odds, which we talked about on yesterday's show. But we're not talking about yesterday's show. We're talking about today's show. We have a fun show for you today. It's Friday, and we're doing our weekly draft this week. We are drafting our all-time Miami Heat fan favorites. Now, unlike in past drafts, David, I have no rules. I have no guidelines. Just fan favorites. Who do you think is a fan favorite? And I think that the Heat are a particularly interesting organization to do this with because I've been saying this for a couple of years now. Nobody hates their own players quite like Heat fans do, it feels like sometimes. So to kind of reverse it and remember some of those players that Heat fans just loved. Of course, none of this is going to be universal because nothing ever is. But we're going to try to get close to that. We're going to make our cases. It could be Hall of Famers. It could be All-Stars. It could be guys at the end of the bench. There's literally zero rules to this. It's just sort of our impression of what a fan favorite may or may not be.
I love that there is so little direction in terms of what we could select here. And moreover, I'm even going with a wider definition. Like the people listening to the show, they live and breathe Heat basketball, and while we certainly would love to appease to them, they're a much more discerning audience. I'm even going, I'm casting a wider net. To me, if my mom likes this player, that's a fan favorite. Like it's more about the millions of peripheral fans that might be like, oh, I like that guy, the one with the hair, or something. Like they don't even know their names necessarily, and that's what a fan favorite is. A guy that just stands out for whatever reason, and a fan, as casual as it might be like, you know what? That's a guy worth rooting for. So that's my definition of a fan favorite.
So I didn't. Where'd my coin go? I usually do a coin.
Your magic coin.
My magic Colombian coin here. Let's flip it. I always forget which one is head or tails. I'm gonna call this one.
Oh, no wonder I keep losing. It's like
you had a streak there of 2-0 and you haven't won since. I wonder why. Go ahead and call it. You're gonna go tails again, or what are you doing?
Tails again. Tails never fails until it's us, I guess.
Oh, tails it is. You get the first pick. Let's go ahead.
All right. Again, there are a lot of names to choose from here, but I just looked at what the fan experience is all about and a fan favorite, and to me, as many as I could have selected any one of those Hall of Famers that you selected, but the ultimate fan favorite player, Udonis Haslem. I had to go with him as my first overall pick as a fan favorite. That guy is just, he's bled, he's fought, he's sweat for this team. He is Mr. 305. He'll tell you, and everybody believes it. 20 years in a Heat jersey, and while some fans, the most critical of them, you're kind of opposed to him being on the team for as long as he was, even in that last season, he was still giving us special moments, and it was just a fantastic run. He's got the state of Florida on his back, and I mean that literally. Like, he has a tattoo that we've all seen many times. Here, like, he's this close to signing a 10-day if he could want one. Like he's still part of that organization. The culture, the his blood is red and black, and that's just the way he is. He is absolutely a Heat player and will be a Heat lifer. I don't think there's ever been a Heat lifer that defines it more than Udonis Haslem, and that's why I think he's such a fan favorite.
I can't disagree with you. I think it's a great pick. I had him number 2 on my big board, which gives me.
I know you've got number 1.
I mean, this one's obvious. I mean, it's going to be one of these two guys. It's got to be Dwyane Wade with my number one pick. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's got the statue outside the building, for Christ's sake. So I'm going with D Wade. You couldn't go wrong with either of these answers. And Udonis Haslem, I think, really does embody the fan favorite part of this discussion because Dwyane Wade's a Hall of Famer, right? He's one of the all-time greats. He's the third greatest shooting guard of all time. Like Udonis Haslem would be a nobody to any other fan base except for the Miami Heat fan base. He's going to be he is a Miami Heat Hall of Famer, right? He has his jersey retired, all of these things. He's an all-timer. Dwyane Wade is an all-timer across the NBA, right? Across the league, he's an all-timer. Udonis Haslem is an all-timer for us. And so UD is a great pick, and I cannot fault you choosing him number one overall. But that, of course, left me Dwyane Wade number one. I feel like that one, do I have to even explain that one? Like, I think we should just go to your pick. It's D Wade of course, he's the number one pick.
It has to be. This is where it starts getting tricky. Now all of a sudden, those two were clearly at the top.
Can I ask you then? Like,
Yes.
did you have? So you had these two guys at the top of your big board. I had them at the top of my big board. Did you have so you have another tier? Was it like? Are you actually having a hard time with this next group, or?
Yeah,
I feel like there was another couple of guys that I feel like had to be here.
I mean, I could say that. I know kind of what you're leaning towards there, and
I have a tier of three guys here.
okay. I don't know if he fits this tier or not, but to me, honestly, and maybe it's just recency bias, I gotta go Jimmy Butler. Like, despite what happened last season, I think Jimmy is still a fan favorite because he was ours for the 6 years that he was here, and I think he did so many incredible things. He carried this team, and I think that's why so many fans were kind of split last year because clearly he wasn't the same player he had been during the earlier part of his stint here in South Florida, and yet the highs were so high and the memories were so great, and he fought and he scrapped and he lived Heat basketball. He was your dog until all of a sudden he wasn't. He wanted to be somewhere else, and I think that's kind of what made it so difficult for so many Heat fans. But I'm going with him as my second pick.
I didn't have him on my board.
You're kidding me. You are absolutely kidding me. Jimmy Butler?
I didn't have him on my
There
board.
are more 22 jerseys there than anybody else.
I had 22 players, ironically enough, on my board.
Ironically enough, yeah.
And I didn't, and Jimmy Butler was not one of them because of the way it ended. I think there's a huge portion of this Heat fan base that is 100% agreeing with you. They don't care how it ended. Jimmy Butler was their guy. That's their number one guy. It sucks how it ended, but they're willing to overlook it and recognize that Jimmy Butler was one of the all-time favorites. I think there's another segment of the fan base that is really upset with how Jimmy Butler left. And so to call him a fan favorite, I couldn't go that universal with Jimmy because I do think he's so polarizing for the fan base that I couldn't go that far to call him a fan favorite. All-time great Heat player? Absolutely. 100%. To your point, embodied everything that we wanted him to embody for multiple years. But the way it ended was so toxic and so ugly and so disruptive and ruined an entire season that could have otherwise been, I thought, pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that soured another big portion of the fan base. So he's too polarizing to be a fan favorite to me.
I think you wouldn't care if you didn't love him so much. That's the whole thing. It's
sure,
like,
of course. That's part of it, man.
But to me, again, it's like that it ended badly doesn't erase it. Better to have loved than lost, man. That's how I feel. But anyway, let's move on. Where's your next pick?
I got Goran Dragic with my next pick.
Oh, good one. Really good. And
I thought for sure that's where you were going, honestly. You're the Dragic guy, but
yeah, I know.
That one was to me a clear number 3 here.
He can't do anything wrong. There.
People are just like we get a question probably once a week, and I'm not even exaggerating. When's Goran going to get a job with the Heat front office or the Heat coaching staff or wherever people think that he's going to be? And the answer is whenever he wants. That's the answer, because he's so beloved in that building that he literally, like, I don't know if it's a key under the mat or maybe it's just like a security card that gets him in. You know, it's like it's for a job. Like, that's the kind of thing that, you know, he's got a placard in the, ready to go for him, a nameplate. But this is an all-timer, and it hurt so badly when he left. But I think all recognized, it was starting to get to that time in his career, the twilight years. The Kyle Lowry trade was panned by some at the time. Obviously, people didn't like the way that Kyle Lowry never became. He is also not on my board. I'd be shocked if he were on your board. He was never the fan favorite that Dragic was. But even that 1 year, it was obviously an upgrade. That 2022 season, that was a clear upgrade. Lowry was just better than Dragic that year. But
Yeah.
to see Dragic traded away. But what's great about Dragic is he never soured on the organization for making that decision. He was always a team-first guy. He kind of even understood it. He tried to hang around in the league for a little bit longer. He's back in Miami. He loves being here. He's around the organization all the time, brings his family to games in that locker room, beloved by teammates, beloved by the front office, the coaching staff, the fan base alike. A shame that he went down in the bubble in the NBA Finals there, because it would have been great to see him on that stage for a little bit longer.
It was the right call. Like I probably put Jimmy a little too far ahead just because of the highs there. The lows certainly take out of it, but nobody seemed to embrace the Heat as much as Goran did. Like maybe he had the All NBA selection when he was with the Suns, but I don't think any team helped define Goran any more than the Heat did. And he just seemed to really appreciate this organization there.
Yeah. So we're gonna get on to our next round of picks after the break here.
Today's episode is brought to you by Open Phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or a service provider. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait around? Probably not. You moved on. And that's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. Open Phone lets you manage business calls and texts from a single app. The shared inbox feature is a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat, and their AI agent handles after-hour calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. Open Phone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. We'll be right back.
David, you have the next pick, but before we jump in there, just a reminder, we are launching our 25 of 25 series where we rank the top 25 players of the past 25 years. I have a feeling a lot of the players we talk about today are going to be on that list, but before we start, we need your help to cast your vote. Join the Locked On Heat Insider community, where we are sending the link to the survey every morning this week. Sign up at the link in the show notes. Do it now because voting ends tonight, Friday night. David, your pick.
From John Sundvold to Jason Capono to Duncan Robinson, my third pick is white three-point shooter. Nobody is a fan favorite.
No, you can't do this.
Yes, I did. Yes, you can.
You just made
yes, you can. I'm talking to the master. Yes, and they're all off the table. That's the way this works. But I'm specifically, as unspecific as possible, white three-point shooter. Nobody gets the crowd riled up as that one white kid who can't do anything else. Looking at you, Duncan Robinson, and really just shoots the lights out.
Duncan Robinson juked out Victor Wembanyama.
And we're still talking about that. Yeah. It's like the block. It's the these singular plays throughout NBA history, the juke, and everybody knows exactly what you're talking about, but it's only in South Florida. I had everybody you just said, every white three-point shooter on my list. Jason Capono, I had way higher on my big board than I probably should have. Love Capono. That's a personal favorite for you. That's what it is.
100%. Capono was the first. He was the first Duncan Robinson. He was the first Max Strus.
Even going back, it was John Sundvold was the first three-point shooter in Heat history, the white three-point shooter like that. And that was, nobody really cared about the team, but boy, he was a shooter out there.
So
he sure was.
Could I make the argument?
Yes.
I have Max Strus 5th on my big board. Could I make the argument that he's the #1 fan favorite of all the white three-point shooters? Because Duncan, he went down there for a minute. There was that tough year that he had, the contract that went, like, people hated Duncan. There was a point where fans just really were out on Duncan. You and I defended him, but there were fans that were out on him. Capono, it felt like he was here for like a decade. It was 2 seasons.
Oh no, I know that. I knew that. For you, maybe it was a decade.
Yeah, because I was younger, but it felt like a decade feels long. I probably would have assumed like 3 or 4 years. I was a little surprised that it was only 2 years. Strus is very similar in that he was really only playing for a couple of years. You know, he was part of the organization for about, what was it, 3 years? 3 or 4 years. But, you know, his impact was so outsized, and he was part of that great playoff run in 2023. And he didn't get the big contract. Well, he did get the big contract, but he got it with a different team. He got it with Cleveland. So he never got the Duncan Robinson sort of context of the big contract over here. Like, Max Strus was always just a walking hero. He was good looking, so the women loved him too. I would argue Max Strus is the most fan favorite of all the fan favorite white 3-point shooters that have come through Miami.
It's a strong take, and I can't disagree with that. I still think I tend to lean Duncan, because I think the average fan doesn't necessarily care about the contract as much. So it's just, you know, when Duncan's out there, the reputation is still him as and the highs were against so high. I mean, I know they take away from some of the lows, but
the bubble was great. He was way more endearing to the fan base because he was so open about stuff.
Yeah.
Than a lot of players who have played here. So
the Jimmy Neutron thing, like, I mean, there was so much there. Like, it's unfair, but that's the way it was.
If we're breaking rules, like, I'm breaking a rule with my next pick.
You're the natural at it. You've broken every rule in
I'm
every
surprised.
game
I was ready to go here. I'm surprised you beat me to it. I'm going second stint Alonzo Mourning.
Oh, great call. Great call.
More so than first stint Alonzo Mourning, because first stint Mourning was, you know, first of all, the Heat traded for him. He wasn't drafted here, which is just a little bit different. The Heat trade for him. Those years were great in the 90s with him and Hart. They never won anything, right? Like, never really broke through, could never just get through and make it to the NBA Finals. And so there was a little bit of an always like, you know, there's like a bittersweet kind of feeling at the end of it. And then the way it all ended that first time when he left, the kidney thing, and then the release, and just back and forth with the organization, all that stuff. It was just sort of meh by the time it was all over. But then he comes back, and he's like the ultimate backup quarterback behind Shaquille O'Neal. And he has that, I think this is another sort of outsized impact in our memory. When he comes in for Shaq, people are, he outplayed Shaq in the 2006 finals. You and I rewatched the finals a couple years ago. That is completely not true. But it doesn't matter because he was just so impactful coming off the bench that Miami just always had 48 minutes of great center play, tough rebounds, big blocks in key moments for Zoe. That second stint Alonzo Mourning is like the ultimate backup quarterback, can do no wrong. He should be in, you know, all this kind of stuff. So I got second stint Zoe here for my next pick.
Perfect call and perfect breaking of the rules there, because it's exactly right. Like, first stint Zoe, astronomically better than the version we got, like MVP level, defensive player of the year level, whatever. His Hall of Fame career was built. Yeah, his Hall of Fame status was built on that first stint. But it was still, he was unapproachable. He was arrogant, always snarling. He was angry. That was Heat basketball. It was fighting the Knicks. It was punching people. It was dragging, you know, Van Gundy on your leg. You know, that's what that Zoe was. He came back, shaved head, a calmer, kidneyless Alonzo Mourning. And it was like, you know, he touched our hearts that he came back on a vet minute after having left for more money, etc. Like, it was just a completely different version of him. And knowing that he was limited physically, this guy, the warrior, the ultimate bodybuilding physique, and he was playing on a kidney, and just to be able to impact games, every block shot that he had, every rebound, every shot he hit was like bigger than it had ever been during his first stint. So yeah, a great call there.
You get the next pick. Let's try to go a little bit quicker with some of these.
Yes. All right. I got Chris Anderson. I think he just came in here from the Harlem Shuffle to those rebounds and tattoos. He was our guy, and the fact that he came in here in the midst of a Big Three era, you know, the center position was still very much in flux. You always needed somebody who was kind of a presence in the down low, and he was just a great rebounder, etc. Again, you probably look back. I don't know how much the plus minus really reflects his impact, but it felt special. And again, to see kids wearing the tattooed sleeves and mohawks up in the stands, that's as fan favorite as it gets.
Awesome pick. Honestly, probably should have been picked higher. Like, you could make a case that he should have been one of the number 2 picks for us. Like, this guy is nobody, you will never find anybody say anything negative about Chris Anderson. He came in, they went on a 27-game win streak, for God's sakes, after they signed him. So just the ultimate guy. He was that center that they never really had in the Big Three era until he showed up. And so we know how Heat fans feel about their centers. Great pick. My next pick, this is tough. Now we're getting into like the nitty gritty here, I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, I think I'm going to surprise you here. I'm thinking about two different directions, but I'm going to go this way. I'm going rookie Tyler Herro.
Yes. He's on my list. I can't argue it. We made the case before, and you weren't even covering the team at the time, and yet nothing prepared me for the experience of seeing the crowd build up in anticipation with every crossover. Like, you can talk about him now as much as you want to, and there's a large vocal audience that dislikes him, but nothing like rookie Tyler Herro holding their breath and waiting.
He
and
captured the imagination of the Heat fan base. He did it in the bubble. Because of Tyler Herro, the NBA Finals felt possible. Jimmy Butler was awesome, but we knew, like, we kind of expected Jimmy Butler. Like, Jimmy Butler was awesome all season that year. It's like, okay, we'll see what happens. And then Tyler Herro just emerges as the second scorer on that team, and everybody's like, oh my God, what? Like, this is our next superstar. The way that he made Miami fall in love with him that year, I don't know that I've seen anything quite like that, and this is going to sound hyperbolic, since rookie Dwyane Wade. That was the closest Heat fans got to that experience, where it was just immediately as a rookie burst onto the scene. Oh my God, we've never had a player quite like this here. Yeah. This is really cool. And that says nothing about the rest of it, because he is definitely not a fan favorite anymore. He's just like Jimmy Butler to me. It's very polarizing. But he's a fan favorite on this podcast. But rookie Tyler Herro, definitely on this list. You're up next.
Yeah. Wow. This is where it gets a little tougher. Again, breaking the rules here. I'm going random G League player. From Briante Weber on down. Like, always that guy that has all that potential, and somehow the fans just lean into the idea that they could be this spectacular player because of, I don't know, that 10-point game they had in Las Vegas Summer League.
I'm going to give you Briante Weber. I'll give you Omer Yurtseven.
Yes. Carl White.
Okay. I have a Carl White on my board. 12-0 Caro. They were 12-0 in 2016-17 when he came in. I don't think that counts as he was a call-up, right? So maybe it does count.
It's kind of just that guy, I got Chris
Silva
individually on my list.
I feel like there's so many of these guys in Heat history, you kind of have to pick one, though. This is a little bit too broad to me.
Oh, I can't make that argument. I can't see that. It seems like Weber maybe was the guy. Like, he was again. Why isn't he on the roster?
Weber or White, I think, are the two guys to me.
Yeah, but Weber was like, when the point guard position couldn't be filled by any one player, it was always Briante Weber who was going to fill it, and that was like for 4 years. Everybody believed he was the next hope at point guard, and it just never worked out that way.
All right, I'm going to give you mine then, since we're here. I'm going Patrick Beverley. He was never officially part of the team, but he was on the 2009 training camp team. In 2009, was a roster cut right before the season as a rookie. One of the biggest one is people still bring it up. Oh, if only we had gotten Patrick Beverley. That was a big thing during the Big Three era. It was a big thing after the Big Three era. It's like Beverley with LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh would have been great. Beverley playing alongside Goran Dragic would have been great. It felt like 10 years of, if only we had never gotten rid of Patrick Beverley. If you asked a Heat fan about Patrick Beverley, they would have been like, he'll be in the Hall of Fame, right? Like, that's how they talked about Patrick Beverley. It was absolutely crazy. He's on my list as a fan favorite. You're up next.
This one's a little kind of tongue in cheek.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. We're going. We got to take one more. Well, let's take a quick break here, and then we'll finish it up. We're on a roll here. We sped right through the break part.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action. FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. If you're already following the action, why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. It's easy to use, it's fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Look, it's a long baseball season, but with FanDuel, you can get even a little bit more excited. If you're not excited about the Marlins continuing to win games, well, this might be what you're looking for. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. We'll be right back.
All right, so I want to try to get a few more picks in here. We're going to go speed round over the next 5 minutes. That's how we're going to do this. So just give
All
me your
right.
next one.
This one's a tongue-in-cheek one. The Warden, Joel Anthony. You kind of always
pick.
felt sorry for him, but boy, did you love him. You knew he was trying his best, but he always came up short anyway.
I'll go Brian Grant with my next pick. We've talked about Alonzo Mourning already. He was the guy that stepped in at center after Zoe left. Was the center when Dwyane Wade got drafted for that rookie year for that really overachieving 2003, 2004 Miami Heat team that ended up making the playoffs. And Brian Grant was like, he was sort of like this Udonis Haslem type of character where it was just always doing the dirty work kind of thing, undersized, got the job done, really endeared himself to fans, was always a great personality. I got Grant here.
Up next, I've got Dion Waiters.
Great. I'm glad you took him. That's a you pick for sure.
I don't need to say anything else. Dion earned his place on this list.
All right, I'm going Mario Chalmers. We needed our guys. We needed our guards. That's the old.
Right.
You got the ultimate Team David pick. I got the ultimate Team West pick. You got your boy Dion. I got my guy Rio. And if I can make the case for Mario Chalmers, yes, he was hated by a large swath of Heat fans at the time, and maybe even a swath of Heat players at the time. But
undoubtedly,
it's like one of those. He's like that friend in high school who you're always sort of annoyed by, like being around, and then like years go by and you're like, I kind of miss that guy. Like, what happened to that guy? It's kind of like that. Maybe. And then for him to come back, what was that, 20 in the COVID year or something?
Oh yeah. He signed two 10-day contracts.
Played like a minute, and then that was it.
Yeah.
I don't know. He always felt like he was part of the family. So he's like that little brother that you make fun of and kind of beat up every once in a while, but part of the family nonetheless.
Yeah, I remember one of the jokes I think you've laughed at the most on this show was that, remember that bar Churchill's, they used to always have these indie acts, and they would always have these random names, like, guys in the garage that had just come up with a name. And I swear to God, there's probably a band out there called F Mario Chalmers just because it's so Miami. I remember you laughing your ass off or out like a good portion of the show after that. But yes, shout out to Rio. I've got Shane Battier. I don't know if that's the right call or not, but I think
it's good.
I think he was a little smarter than your average fan favorite, perhaps, but he's smarter than most of the guys in the NBA. But he was just the fact that he chose Miami, that he came here and they won big after he joined the team, and he always just did all the dirty work. You had to love him. I think he's been beloved throughout his NBA career. Despite being a Duke player, he just didn't have the Duke stink ever attached to him, at least not that I knew of. And I think he was a fan favorite during that time that he was here.
So I don't know if this... Did you kind of pick Mike Miller in your white three-point shooter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's in there.
Okay. Because I feel like we haven't done enough of the Big Three era where it just felt like everybody was beloved on that team. But I'm going to try
I've got Ray on my list.
You have Ray Allen?
I do have Ray Allen on my list.
That's a good one. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go Caron Butler.
Okay. That's a little iffy for me, but make your case.
Well, he was part of that 2003, 2004 Dwyane Wade team. He was drafted the year before that, and then gets looped into the Shaquille O'Neal trade. And I remember there were Heat fans that were like, man, I really don't want... There was Lamar Odom, it was Caron Butler, it was Brian Grant, and some draft picks and some other stuff. But the piece that Heat fans were really disappointed on parting with was Caron Butler. And I just kind of remember that, and it just felt like he was a fan favorite at the time. People kind of envisioned Dwyane Wade and Caron Butler as like this Jordan Pippen potential thing, and it just never really came to be. So it's a little bit of like a what ify pick also, although obviously it worked out because they got Shaq and won a championship. But he was always remembered for those 2 years, and then he's back with the organization now as an assistant coach, and I think you get bonus points for that.
This is an old pull here, and probably most of the people listening to the show don't even remember him. Alan Ogg, like just 12th man on the bench when you can only have 12 players on the roster. Barely played, but again, those early Heat teams, late great Alan Ogg, OGG. And I never saw him play. I don't think anybody really saw him play. But boy, did they call out his name when games were clear blowouts, as they often were during those first couple of seasons with the Miami Heat. Alan Ogg was the guy. Fans at the old Miami Arena yelling out, Ogg, 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 to get this guy out on the floor. like he was the exact opposite of Red Auerbach's victory cigar. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna lose anyway. Watch him play and put him out there." And so, yeah, I think that was probably the first fan favorite in Heat history.
My last pick here, and the last pick of our draft, I'm going Bino Udrih. So,
what a sacrifice!
Here, yes, the ultimate. He had just got here. He injures his foot. I think it was his foot, I believe, and it was a 12-week injury, and it's in the middle of the year, and Miami wants to go get Joe Johnson, who was bought out, and Bino Udrih at the time agrees to a buyout, takes less money in the buyout. They needed to shave like $100,000 or something, so he took less money in the buyout to get Miami under the luxury tax and allow them to sign Joe Johnson in the middle of that 2016 season. And there was that great Brian Windhorst piece on ESPN where he reported that teams across the league were upset that the Heat got him, that the buyout of Bino Udrih upset several teams. Let's see. He says, where's the line? I have it up in front of me here. For competitive reasons, numerous teams were after Johnson when he became a free agent, and because non-payers will see their payouts drop slightly as a result of the move, the Heat's buyout of Udrih caused some complaining across the league on Monday. So not only was it the sacrifice, but Miami also then in a few months re-signs Bino Udrih and then waives him a few more months after that. But I think they did find a way creatively to get him the money that he had given up there, and then the Heat get Joe Johnson, who was actually quite good for them. So I go Bino Udrih here. That's a real local Heat fan pull to even remember that. But that's why he's on this list.
A deep cut. I at one point in the Miami Heat cornering the market on left-handed Slovenian point guards. Like, what are the chances? You got two of them on the roster. So yeah, honorable mentions here. Okay. Jason Williams.
Yep. Have him on my list.
You got to go there. Ray Allen again, just because if nothing else. I mean, there was a shot, and he also, he stuck it to Boston. I mean,
the big middle finger to the Celtics. Yep,
absolutely. And then I've got backup center again, kind of over generalized, but you know what? You're always rooting for that backup center because for some reason, whether it's Matt Geiger or I don't know, Isaac Austin, anybody in between, like all these different backup centers, you're always convinced that they're going to be able to play, and the fans just kind of lean into that idea more than anything else.
We could have gone first year Hassan Whiteside. That might have been an oversight on our part, but it was just so bad at the end that I didn't really think about it until just now. But first year Hassan Whiteside with the quotes about I'm just trying to get my 2K rating up. Nobody's doing it with blocks. Like that was just that was so much fun, and it was so interesting. You just never saw a 7-footer come out of nowhere the way that you saw Hassan Whiteside come out of nowhere. So I thought that was great. First rookie year Norris Cole, right out of Cleveland State, just grabbing that job from Mario Chalmers. I thought that was an honorable mention. Gabe Vincent, honorable mention. I also have Ronny Turiaf in the 2011-2012 season. He was sort of Chris Anderson before Chris Anderson, and I remember but that kind of goes to your backup center point there too. And PJ Tucker was another one of my
Davion Mitchell favorites. Like I think he's going to be there. Like he'll be there. He came on so strong. He might have built such a reputation off that half season. If he hadn't resigned here, he might have grown into legendary status had he not resigned.
That does it for our fan favorite draft. Let us know who we didn't pick. Let us know who we overlooked. Let us know who your fan favorite is. Put your own top 9 picks or your big board in the comments here on YouTube. Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.